Welcome back to Man Down Sports. As you can see from the thumbnail, Isaiah Thomas is the topic of discussion. We will be going over Isaiah Thomas and what he had to say about the GOAT debate and LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kareem. And this is an oldie. This is something from the archive, maybe 5 years ago when he was on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, and he said that. But it's like a viral clip that a lot of people, probably have heard already, but it's never been broken down. I want to do that today because I want to see if it stood the test of time, like the things that he was, putting his stock in as far as why he chose LeBron James over Michael Jordan. I want to see if it stands the test of time, and look at it 5 years later and see if it's relevant still, and see if it even makes sense back then, because it made a lot of sense to a lot of people back then. And it might not make a lot of sense right now when you actually look into it and go below the surface. So we're going to do that. And of course, we got 3 other topics. If you're watching the full episode, you'll see those 3 other topics. If not, you'll see those individually. Now, the like button is free. I'm going to invite everybody to hit that like button. Make sure you do that. Leave comments as well. We love that, man. It feeds our channel. It is really good to read those comments. Even if you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. We like those comments down there because it's a lot of engagement, and that's the whole point of having this conversation, man. You get to have debates or just enlighten other people. It don't have to be spirited or mean-hearted or anything like that, man. It's just a conversation about basketball, and we all like basketball. If not, you wouldn't have clicked on this video. So definitely leave comments. Don't be shy about it. Definitely hit the like button. Definitely hit the share button as well. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you get all the videos as soon as they come out. And I want to give another invite for membership. If you want to join the channel as a member, and that helps us out a lot. Helps us keep coming back to you to do this, because if you're supporting us financially and supporting us in that way, that'll give us more time and more incentive to come on and continue to, put this work in and put this content out like that. Shout out to Mikey Brass. He became a member 2 days ago. And shout out to Savine Arnold, who also became a member yesterday. We appreciate y'all for that. And without further ado, a word from the sponsor. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry. Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can get your deposit doubled up to $100. You got to check on the map to make sure your state is eligible to play Underdog Fantasy. But as soon as you do, and if your state is, go ahead and download Underdog Fantasy's app. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can, like I said, you can get that $100 match on your first deposit. And I would want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring Man Down Sports. All right, so this Isaiah Thomas clip is long. It's like 5 or 6 minutes or something like that. I probably pause it halfway through, and then I finish it out. So you won't be sitting here looking at my ugly mug for so long while that thing is playing. But here's what Isaiah Thomas said.
Welcome to Undisputed. What are your thoughts on game 1 last night?
I thought it was a interesting game because I thought both teams came out and really didn't have their rhythm. And I thought, for the first half, it was kind of close. And then Durant took over. And when he took over, it was kind of like, wow. You have been waiting to see this moment on the big stage and how he would perform on the big stage. And he wasn't shy about it at all. And the performance that he put on last night, I think it woke everybody up to just how great a basketball player he was. Because, before he got injured, he was the best player in the league.
He was the best player in the league.
I think last night he came out and he reestablished himself as, you talk about LeBron and you always talk about KD, a couple of years ago in terms of who was 1 and 2. And actually KD, I think he was the MVP of the league, and then he broke his foot. And, last night he looked like that guy again.
So the player you saw last night was better than LeBron James.
Well, wait a minute. Just in last night's game,
has he emerged
in a singular activity, in a singular game? Yeah, he was the best player on the floor last night.
Does he have a chance in these finals to prove, in a bigger picture, that he's better than LeBron James?
See, I look at LeBron James in a broader category. I don't look at him in terms of what he is, what he does on the basketball floor.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it there. First and foremost, this is the first meeting between Golden State and the Cleveland Cavaliers when Kevin Durant was there, his first time there. So Kyrie Irving was still there. They beat was it? Yeah, it was there. Kyrie Irving was still there. They beat the brakes off of him, right? Is that the game? The first year, Kyrie Irving got hurt. The second year, so Kyrie Irving got hurt the first year, KD wasn't there. Golden State won that one. The second year, Kyrie was there, and Cleveland won that one. And in the third year, Kevin Durant showed up. And I remember that game one. Was that the one where J.R. Smith made that blunder? I don't think so. I think that was the second time they faced him. So yeah, they beat him in that first game, and he's saying Kevin Durant, was the best when he won MVP, and then he broke his foot. And then he's saying that, he kind of had to reestablish himself, and this was a good way to do it by meeting the guy who everyone else, if you don't say Kevin Durant is the best, you probably were saying LeBron was. So he gets to meet LeBron on that stage, on the biggest stage in the finals, and show him up and get the win. So basically what he was saying is he reestablished himself as the best player in the league if there was any doubt, right? But he said that, and then Skip, challenged him and was like, so you saying he's better than LeBron James? And he couldn't answer that straight up because he don't want to come out. He don't want to come out and say it like that. But he said it in so many words already by saying he's, when he won MVP, he was the best in the league, and he reestablished himself as the best tonight. And so is he better than LeBron James? Well, wait a minute, right? And then he's got to give you a word salad.
What he does outside of the floor, I take the totality of what he's done as a champion. And when you're looking at a champion, the way I was brought up, he or she has a responsibility not only to perform inside the lines, but outside of the lines. They have a greater responsibility in terms of, uplifting the team. And also, if you have an opportunity to uplift society, then they take on that responsibility. That's what the Muhammad Ali's did. That's what the Jim Browns did. That's what the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars did. So that champion, the way I was brought up, when you're the best player on the team and you're the leader of the team or the best player in the league, you have a greater responsibility to move the game, to move society forward. And that's why I look at LeBron James in that way.
Done that.
Yes,
I will give that to you for sure.
Now, I mean, that's cool. I like all of that stuff, but that's not what I would be using in my determination on who a better player is. Like if you're asking me who the better basketball player is, I'm gonna stick to basketball. Right now, if you asking me some other question about, I don't know who's a better leader, and I don't know who would you want I don't know. I don't know what all this off the court, diplomatic, political, and kissing babies and petting dogs. I don't know why all that got to do with the question of is Kevin Durant better than LeBron, but he went there and he said that's part of his criteria.
So that's my criteria.
Mm-hmm. The comparison, it just will not go away. LeBron versus Michael.
Yeah.
How close is LeBron? Some similarities and some differences.
I look at LeBron and what he's done is mind blowing. With what he's had to work with, and what I mean by what he's had to work with, LeBron James came straight from high school. Do you know who his high school coach is?
Drew Joyce.
But I'm just asking. Do you know?
No.
Do you know?
I know St. Vincent, St. Mary, but I don't know the coach.
So this is the point I'm trying to make.
Quotes from
right.
Yeah.
He didn't go to college.
Yeah.
he's taken every rookie coach he's had to the NBA Finals.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it there. So this is his way. This is the point he's trying to make. This was 5 years ago. This is the point he's trying to make. He asked him the comparisons about LeBron and Michael Jordan. Give me what was similar. Give me what's different. You know, basically who's the better player. And mind you, he just got finished telling you that, you know, when he goes, his criteria goes beyond the basketball court. You know, so pretty much who the better guy is, who the better personality is, who, you know, all of those things, all of those things that you can nitpick at Michael Jordan about, because he's the type of guy that get in your face. He was fierce. He was a fierce competitor. You know, he'll light his teammate up verbally. He's punched teammates before. You know, he was an intense guy like that, right? Then on top of that, he's not openly out there kissing babies and petting dogs. So those are the things you can nitpick at Mike about, which are conveniently part of Isaiah's criteria on how you could have more love for a guy like LeBron James, and how that love can carry on into why you think he is the greatest of all time, or why he's better than Mike, or whatever the case may be, right? But then he goes into this, who's LeBron's high school coach? He came out of high school, he didn't go to college. So he's trying to drive the point home that LeBron's never had the type of coaching that Mike has had, right? So I guess in his mind, and he's saying he's took every rookie coach he's had to the finals, and he conveniently forgets that Phil Jackson was a rookie coach joining the Bulls when Michael Jordan was there, right? So revisionist history will say Phil Jackson has 6 championships as a coach. I'm sorry, 8 championships as a coach. You know, he got 5 with the Lakers, and no, he got 3-peat with the Lakers, 2 with Kobe, that's 5, and then 6 with the Bulls. Oh, I'm sorry, I shortchanged him, right? So he got way more than that. He got 11 championships, right? 5 with the Lakers, 6 with the Bulls, right? So they would look at them and be like, oh, 11 coaching championships, and some people say the greatest coach of all time, and they say, oh man, Jordan had the greatest coach of all time coaching him. But that's not what he had. He got a rookie coach, just like LeBron got a rookie coach, right? So if we wait until the coaches that LeBron had careers over, then we can look back and see if they were on par with Phil Jackson or not. You get what I'm saying? You can't judge it the way he's trying to do it, because we got a guy and a coach who's completed their career that you can look back on and say he was a great coach, and it's well documented that he was great, versus we got a coach that was a rookie with LeBron, and he's still coaching and still building his resume and his accomplishments. All of them are yet to come, right? But if you just want to look at some of the coaches he had, Mike Brown, because I think Paul Silas was his first coach, accomplished coach, played for the, you know, as a player, played and won rings with the Boston Celtics, played with some of the greats, and he coached Charlotte Hornets, you know, successful seasons and all that stuff. So he was LeBron's first coach. He didn't take him to the finals, right? When Mike Brown got there, he took Mike Brown to the finals, which a guy who was an assistant for 7 years, right? Studied up under Greg Popovich in San Antonio, defensive guru, showed up, and yes, as not as a rookie coach, but you know, in his 3rd or 4th year, they went to the finals and got swept by San Antonio, right? So that's cool. Yeah, you got a rookie coach, and y'all got to the finals at some point, just like Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan got to the finals when he was a rookie coach. Now, once you start letting that thing marinate and go years after years after years, you see that Mike Brown is an excellent, spectacular, great coach. He's won Coach of the Year twice. As an assistant with Golden State, all those rings they got, he was the defensive coordinator. He put the defense together for Golden State. That defense always looked good. Mike Brown leaves Golden State, goes to Sacramento. Sacramento looks good, and that defense looks good. But guess what? The Golden State Warriors defense don't look good anymore. So Mike Brown has shown his worth as a coach, right? So we're not just going to say, hey, man, he was a rookie coach and LeBron drug him to the final. Now, that's not how that works. If you're a good coach, you're a good coach, and time will tell. And time has told that Mike Brown is a good coach. Who else did LeBron drag to the finals as a rookie coach? David Blatt, they lost, but David Blatt has a long list of accomplishments coaching overseas. I mean, he was a great coach. That was a good hire. LeBron just didn't get along with him. He was a good hire. They got to the finals. So yeah, so Mike Brown is 1, David Blatt is 2, Tyronn Lue is 3. History now, once you let time go by, Ty Lue is a great coach. Probably a better coach than Mike Brown. Probably a better coach than David Blatt. He's no slouch. Right? So Ty Lue is a great coach. And we know Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. I mean, if you want to talk about how good Phil Jackson is, here's the top 15 coaches of all time. There's only one coach that is, well, 2 coaches, 3 coaches that are actively still coaching right now on that list. Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, and Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra is a great coach and documented by the NBA as top 15 coach of all time. He coached Miami. LeBron got 2 rings with him, and that's the list of rookie coaches that he's talking about. And Eric Spoelstra wasn't even a rookie coach when LeBron got there. He was already well established as well. And D Wade and Pat Riley both vouched for him before LeBron got there. And of course, LeBron tried to get him fired, but Pat Riley is too strong of a personality to allow LeBron to come and dictate things like he did in Cleveland and got David Blatt fired, which gave an opportunity to Ty Lue. So that's cool.
So from an educational standpoint and a knowledge base, where did this brain come from? I mean,
so his thing is he's never had a good coach. In high school, we don't know who his coach is, so his high school coach wasn't good. And he never went to college, so he never got a chance to get a Dean Smith like Michael Jordan did. And every coach that he had in the NBA has been pretty much trash because he just glossed over them and just act like he's trying to make it seem like LeBron has never been taught the game like Michael Jordan and Kobe has. Like he's saying that out of all the people that's in the GOAT conversation, LeBron is self-taught. No coach has ever taught him. No coach is smart enough to teach him. He's never had a good coach. He just did all this on his own, and he's just that smart, right?
I mean, he's the Einstein of basketball. Because when you look at myself, you look at a Jordan, you look at a Shaq, you know, we had Hall of Fame coaches. Like Michael Jordan played for Dean Smith, Hall of Fame. Then he goes and meets Phil Jackson, Hall of Fame. Doug Collins, those were his first coaches. He's around Tex Winters. I was around Chuck Daly, Coach Knight. So from an educational standpoint, the knowledge that we were given and what we were able to apply out on the field and out on the floor, that came from somewhere. I look at LeBron James and I go, where'd he get all this?
So Eric Spoelstra, Mike Brown, Paul Silas, whoever his coach is in high school, David Blatt, Tyronn Lue, they taught LeBron nothing. He's like Isaiah Thomas is clueless. Where did he get all this? How can he read a defense? Where did that come from? So LeBron showed up out of high school and nobody was training him. No veteran on the team, no coach, no assistant coach, none of those. He's giving those guys no credit and saying LeBron just came in and just magically just trained himself. That's his claim to fame. He's saying that LeBron trained himself. And the coaches was just there like, I don't know what to do. LeBron, do whatever you want to do. That's basically what this is. Isaiah Thomas. This is a Hall of Famer saying this. One of the dumbest things I ever heard in my life to come out of a professional basketball's mouth. That LeBron James came in and what else player can claim that out of all the 76 years of basketball, what other player had coaches but they didn't teach them nothing? Like we talking about Paul Silas played for the Boston Celtics during a lot of championship runs. You think he don't know nothing? We talking about Mike Brown, who studied under Popovich and was an assistant for 5 plus 6, 7 years, and the defensive guru, who we know that now, coach of the year twice. He didn't teach LeBron nothing. Is LeBron teaching these coaches? Is LeBron teaching the offense to the entire team? Is the coaches just getting a free check? The GM who interviewed all these coaches, none of them was like, nah. I mean, like, seriously, you think a GM really hired someone who wasn't qualified, who couldn't coach a team? You think they just screened all these coaches, interview, and was like, man, just hire anybody because this 18-year-old kid coming out of high school is gonna teach everybody everything? Like, that's what Isaiah wants us to believe, that LeBron is self-taught, but everybody else is getting coached. But this is the funny thing about that. That's not really a plus. Even if that was true, that's not a plus, because it shows you why a player like Michael Jordan is better than LeBron, and it shows you why Michael Jordan knew the importance of him developing the post game, developing the mid-range game, and defensive principles, and being able to use the right hand in the passing lane, and things of that nature. It shows why he's a 9-time, 10-time all defensive player, 1 defensive player of the year, and steals champion. It shows why he's a scoring champion 9 times. It shows why he take the game so serious that he's played 82 games, all 82 games 9 times in his 15-year career. He's played 81 games. He's played 80 games. He's played 78 games, and that's pretty much his career. And the only time he played anything less than that was the year he broke his foot and played, I want to say 16 games that year, and the year he came back out of retirement where he only played 17 games before the playoffs. And he might have a 60 in there. Let me see. Yeah, so his second year was 18 games, but you see it right there: 82, 82, 82, 81, 82, 82, 80, 78, 17, 82, 82, 82, 60. That's the year he tore his meniscus in Washington when he was 38. But he came back after surgery at 39 and played all 82 before he retired. All 82. Right? So just picture that. All 82 games. So yeah, my point is this. The coaching probably tells the story on why players like Kobe and Michael Jordan are ahead of LeBron. Maybe that coaching matters. Maybe LeBron needs that coaching, right? He could have got it at any time. If LeBron wanted to go in the triangle, he could have called Phil. He could have got it at any time, right? But I don't believe that LeBron came in and wasn't getting coaching and was self-taught. I don't believe that.
Because he can look at your coach, figure out your defensive scheme. He can look at your substitution pattern. He can read the stat sheet, and then he can, not only read it, but he can dissect it. Then he can come back and put together a game plan, and then he can go out and implement it. So
what is he talking? He can read the stat sheet. He can read the defense. He can watch film. He can put together a game plan and then come out and implement a game plan. What is the coach doing? And Shannon Sharpe is just sitting there nodding his head like, yep. But it's funny. I want you to hear how Shannon Sharpe thought of the notion that Tom Brady was doing that same thing when Skip suggested it.
When they came up with it, come in with his red pen scratching out stuff.
Yep.
Now Tom Brady is not up, because most coaches and NFL coaches work between 80 and 100 hours in a 5-6 day week. So Tom Brady the night before, he's making tweets when he didn't stay up those 80 to 100 hours. So shouldn't they have a problem with that?
Who do you think watches more tape, Tom Brady or all the coaches?
All the coaches.
Stop it.
All the coaches.
Stop
Skip, I'm not going to let you do it.
No,
I'm not going to let you do it.
I'm going to do
I
it
don't care.
because I just
I'm
did
not
it.
going to let you be disrespectful to these damn coaches because you love Tom Brady.
Nobody,
Tom Brady does not watch more tape than
quarterback
coaches. He
in the
does
history
not.
of this league.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a flat-out lie.
That's a flat-out lie that you're perpetrating. There's
no
never
way.
been anything.
He didn't like that. That's his sport, football. He knows how much those coaches put in, how much work they put in, how much film they watch, how much sleep they lose. He knows all of that. These people are really getting paid millions to be able to do those things. And he was just appalled at the idea that a quarterback, Tom Brady, was watching more film than the coaches, according to Skip Bayless. And he said, I'm not going to let you disrespect these coaches like that does all that work. But he sat and watched Isaiah Thomas do the exact same thing and disrespect all those coaches, Mike Brown, Paul Silas, Eric Spoelstra. You can even throw Pat Riley in there. David Blatt, Tyronn Lue, all those, and then the assistants as well. All the assistants that was with them. He's just going to act like LeBron's coming in and putting all this together, and they're doing, what are they doing? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't doubt that LeBron has a high IQ, because every player that is at a top 10, top 15 level of all time has that high IQ. Bill Russell coached and played at the same time. You get what I'm saying? Like, all of those guys are smart like that. But you got to respect your coach. That's what you learn when you go under Dean Smith. When you got a Michael Jordan who feel like he can score on anybody, but would get taken out of the game so he wouldn't get 30 or he wouldn't get 25. Like, Dean Smith held him back from running the score up and getting 25, 30 points a game in college. It's all about the team. He played team ball. And he was coachable. He had to be coachable there. Roy Williams, Dean Smith, Phil Ford, all these guys that was at Carolina, you got to be coachable. And Dean Smith didn't play that. So, yeah, Michael Jordan, as good as he was, you know, he was subservient to his coaches. He submitted to his coaches. He understood and coaching was important. Yeah, he was trained that way. Maybe LeBron don't understand that. Maybe Isaiah don't understand, but to come out here and say that LeBron is doing all that, come on, man.
The Tom Brady's and the Peyton Manning, so forth and so on, they all had coaches, schools, and you know, big institutions that they went to. LeBron James just came in from high school and said, boom, 7 straight finals. You do not go to the NBA finals in all league at age 22 and say, I'm here with, Boobie Gibson and, Danielle Marshall and the coach. No offense to any of them, but you just don't do that in all
paint
leagues.
Cans, squeegees, and a nail file.
That's a shame.
That's what he took to the final.
But that's a shame.
By the way, they got
so many people get insulted when they're around LeBron James, because part of his legacy is he's doing everything, even on the floor. I mean, I heard this clip before, but I never heard it, like, really listen to it to know how he was disrespecting all his coaches like that. But I've heard it from the player standpoint. I heard you just heard Shannon say he took what do you say, paintball, paper clips, and now he can't even say they was like players. He said he was just taking inanimate objects to the finals. Like the teammates was just trash. I'm taking them to the final. So whoever he plays with gets downplayed. If you're not an all-star or a superstar, and you just a role player on LeBron team, you get downplayed to trash. If you are all-star or a superstar and you're playing on LeBron team, then they're going to find something to downgrade you for instance, D Wade. They said his knees was bad and he was washed. Carmelo Anthony played with him. He was washed. Dwight Howard played with him. He was washed. Anthony Davis played with him. He injury prone, hurt all the time. Don't give enough effort. Soft. Chris Bosh, same thing, soft. That was calling him Bosh Spice and all this crazy stuff. It don't matter who you are. If you play with LeBron, you're going to get downgraded from where you are. Kevin Love, liability, soft. Kyrie Irving, can't win without LeBron, not that good, not a superstar. All of this stuff. Whoever plays with LeBron gets downgraded so he could get put on a pedestal. Everyone. Now they're doing it to the coaches as well. All the coaches is downgraded. He's never had a good coach. Eric Spoelstra's going straight to the Hall of Fame. So is Mike Brown. So is Ty Lue. They're going straight to the Hall of Fame. right? Eric Stroser recognized as top 15 coach of all time. Like seriously, think about this stuff.
Not swept by the Spurs, but go ahead.
Yeah, but again, that and all of us have been around sports a lot, right? And you just don't walk in from high school with no institutional knowledge and dominate a sport for the years that he's dominated. So when you talk about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, I look at from the neck up, not necessarily from the neck down, and I'm not going to judge. Again, my criteria is a little different because from a concentration standpoint and a game planning standpoint, LeBron James is head and shoulders above any of these guys.
Concentration,
so
game plan,
LeBron is better than Michael Jordan?
I would pick LeBron James.
You would?
Let's find out why.
If I'm trying to build a team, now that ain't sour grapes. Hold on, come on over here and talk about it because I won. Okay,
he did.
You can't be dismissive of what I did. Okay, so let's keep it real now. Now, so if you're trying to win a series, I'm going with the brain.
If he's trying to win a series, I'm going with the brain. Remember, in the finals, LeBron's lost 6. So I want to know what that brain was good for in those 6 finals that he lost versus the guy that was 6-0. So if you're trying to win a series, I'm going with the brain that lost 6 finals.
Okay. If I got to get 40 points or 50 points, then yeah, I'm taking a Michael Jordan.
So Michael Jordan is reduced to being a guy that can just get you 40 or 50, not a guy that can win you a series. And I get that because he played for the bad boy Detroit Pistons and he beat the heck out of the Bulls. And he also beat Boston. And he also beat the Lakers. And Michael Jordan never beat Boston before Larry Bird got back. So I get how he might look at him like, man, you know, it's almost like I heard Kenny Smith say one time where he was like, man, I was Michael Jordan's well, I don't know if he was his roommate, but they was on the same team at Carolina, and he was like, once you be with someone that much and you've been in that room before and you see, you know, how messy the room is and you smell dirty socks and stuff like that, the aura that everyone talks about that Jordan has when he walks in, where he's glowing, that aura. Kenny Smith was like, yeah, I've been around him too much in college for me to have that aura or that effect when I see him. You know what I mean? But he said he definitely understands it though. But my point is Isaiah probably feels like that. Man, I beat Mike, man. Like y'all talk about Mike like he's this unbeatable guy. I beat him several times. You know what I mean? So I get that part. I get that he feels like that, but come on, you gotta make sense, man. Like, even though you beat him, you can look and see once he got to the top, he held that spot at the top for a long time and went on a good run where he went to 6 finals and 2 3-peats. That's a big deal, right? So for you to say, if I'm trying to win a series, I'm gonna go with the guy who's lost the most series and say he's the brain, which we already kind of established it. Everybody's as smart as LeBron when it comes to the top 10 players. Like, there's no dummies up there with low IQ playing top 10 basketball or GOAT level basketball. It just doesn't exist. They're all smart. Magic smart, Kareem smart, Dr. J smart, Mike smart, LeBron smart, Kobe smart. Kobe might be the smartest, right? So I mean, it's just no GOAT people playing low IQ basketball. They just don't exist, right? And none of them really separate themselves. They all in the same elite company as far as their basketball IQ. So for you to say he's the brains and he ain't never had no coach, I just don't like it.
Or Kobe. But the greatest player to ever play this game is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And we are dismissive of Kareem because every single stat that you throw up, he's at the top. So when we talk about the greatest to ever do it, you know, Kareem is the one who's at the top.
How much
of the bar.
Magic have to do?
Okay, so that's Isaiah. That's his opinion. That was 5 years ago. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's added to it or changed it, or whatever the case may be. You know, I think the last time he spoke on this on air might have been last year. and you can go pull that footage up as well. I'm pretty sure he's tweeted about it a couple of times as well. But last year is he definitely spoke about it said something slightly different last year. But I wanted to dissect that, man. Let some people that's LeBron fans hear someone champion their champion for once, man, because I feel like I've been doing a lot of videos kind of talking about why I don't think he's the GOAT at all, right? And he's not even number 2, right? That's my opinion, but that's how Isaiah saw it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about that one. But let's move on. Patrick Beverley said something interesting. So now we're on Kobe, right? Patrick Beverley was on JJ Reddit's podcast, and this is not very new. This is old. I'm finding these things because they're showing up on my feed because I searched them a couple of weeks ago. So now all of them are showing up on my feed. I'm like, all right, I'm just listening to all of them, and whichever ones I think interesting, whether they're new or old, I think they're interesting. I want to talk about what their thought process was when they said it, right? Patrick Beverley said some interesting things on JJ Reddit podcast that he was asked about Kobe Bryant, and I had a little conversation about it, man. I'm going to play that clip, but a word from the sponsor first. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry. Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can get your deposit doubled up to $100. You got to check on the map to make sure your state is eligible to play Underdog Fantasy. But as soon as you do, and if your state is, go ahead and download Underdog Fantasy's app. Use the promo code ManDownSports, and you can, like I said, you can get that $100 match on your first deposit. And I would want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring Man Down Sports. All right, let's hear what Patrick Beverley said.
Kobe was different because I felt like you could play great D on Kobe and it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. It's up to him.
It's up to him. He was going to make or he was going to miss.
Yes.
One or the other.
And whatever he did, I don't care how the new school looked at it or how it might seem basic. It might seem original. It might seem at times slow. It was nothing you could do to block this man's shot. Nothing. I don't care how many pump fakes he gives you. None of that. Take it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I mean, this guy would get stuck in a position, give you 3 shot fakes. You'd stay down on all 3 shot fakes, and then he'd shoot a left-handed turnaround.
Come on, man. In the fourth quarter with 17 seconds left.
That's big.
Come on, man. Like, come on, yo. Like, no one's doing that. No one.
Do you feel like Kobe doesn't get enough credit in the GOAT conversation? Does he belong in the GOAT conversation?
Yes.
He does.
Game changer. Game changer. And he might not get, like, when it comes to drive, determination, working on your craft, right? After Michael Jordan, who was it? But no one likes to say it for some reason. I don't know why, but like Kobe taught people how to work hard. Like he taught you how to work hard. Like he gave you the blueprint of like what you should do to be a successful basketball player and work hard. Like the blueprint. And people, I don't know, they tend to forget about it for some odd reason. I don't know why.
I think the thing that you're talking about that I appreciate the most about him is just the maniacal pursuit of excellence. And it wasn't anyone else driving him to do that. It was all self-motivation.
Hey, I like it. That's a fierce competitor in Pat Beverley, and a smart dude. And he's breaking it down. And he asked him, he said, man, does he deserve to be in the GOAT debate? Now that question is very, that question is weird for me because I don't think it's a GOAT debate, right? Because when we say GOAT debate, that means we're saying we're having a conversation in a debate about who the best player or who the greatest of all time is, and I don't think it's without a doubt. It's either gonna be Michael or Kareem, and I don't think nobody else is close. Right now, I think Kobe is third, but I think Mike and Kareem separates themselves. So you can have your pick, based on what you value or anything. But I don't think that there's anyone close. Like, seriously, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won all the championships in high school and lost one game. And then he went to UCLA and won all the championships at UCLA and lost one game. So he went through high school and college and only lost 2 games, and then continued that dominance in the NBA on his way to 6 championships, 6 MVPs, winning with Magic 5 times, winning with Oscar 1 time in Milwaukee, getting the all-time scoring lead until LeBron broke it last year. I think he's top 3 in rebounds. He might be top 5 in blocks. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the body of work that Kareem did from high school all the way up, right? So, I mean, just that resume itself is just jam-packed. And the only people who can even compete with that resume is Wilt or Michael Jordan. But when you include, not like when they're just competing NBA-wise, yeah, Wilt and Mike can compete. But when you go beyond NBA and you just talk on basketball in general, and you go to college and high school, nobody competes with Kareem's resume. So Kareem's resume is so good, it separates from everyone. I think Bill Russell's resume is pretty good with the 11 championships, and that kind of separates. Wilt statistically separates, but nobody separates like Mike as a player except Kobe, right? So Mike separates as a player, but he also has that resume as well. So he's easily 1. Kareem's 2. They separated, and then Kobe as a player, great resume, not the best, great resume, number 3. And then at number 4, we got to talk about the greatest statistical guy, the stat guy, and Wilt. And then, of course, the stat guy and LeBron, and then those other great players like Bird, Magic, Tim Duncan, Hakeem and Shaq, those guys, right? So, and then maybe Steph and KD is getting in that conversation as well. But that's how I look at it, right? That's how I look at it. But Kobe's definitely up there for me. The way I evaluate players and I evaluate careers, Kobe's up there, and I weigh heavily on how complete and how good you are as a player on both ends of the floor, right? So that's why Kobe gets so much points, and that's why he's number 3 for me. But yeah, Pat Beverley hit the nail on the head, man. It's just like, I don't know why he gets left out. I mean, he gave us the blueprint. Now, Michael Jordan, he studied several guys. He said his favorite player was David Thompson. He liked the way he jumped and dunked and walked through the air. I think his nickname was Skywalker. And he played for NC State, and Michael Jordan's from North Carolina, so he watched a lot of them, right? So David Thompson, but he said he watched everybody. He watched Dr. J. He watched most big guards. That's probably where he got the love for wanting to post up and stuff like that. He watched those big guards. He watched Elgin Baylor, Oscar, Jerry West. He watched all that stuff, right? So he studied a lot of people, right? Now, as far as him passing his knowledge on, to my understanding, I don't think that no one picked his brain as much as Kobe did. So I think that relationship, Kobe was getting a lot of information from Mike. But Kobe was doing the same thing Mike was doing and was getting information all over the place. He was going to talk to Bill Russell. He was going to talk to all the Laker legends, right? So he talked to Gary Payton. Like, he talked to whoever he wanted something from as far as what they were good at. Payton was a defensive specialist. Kobe picked his brain. So that's what Kobe did. But the difference between Mike and Kobe, I can't pinpoint Mike giving that blueprint to a lot of guys other than Kobe. Kobe was freely giving the blueprint out. So the relationship that Mike had with Kobe, as far as Kobe calling him for advice and stuff like that, he was giving that to every player that he thought had the hunger for it. Kyrie Irving was one of those guys. Paul George was one of, like, all these guys are coming out now saying how much they talked to Kobe, that it worked out with him. Gordon Hayward worked out with him. Kawhi went to the Mamba Academy. Definitely Kyrie Irving. Like, so many people worked with him, and so many WNBA players as well. Like, so he was passing that blueprint out to everyone who was willing to come and work. You know, that's something different. So that's when Pat Bev say he gave us the blueprint on what to do, how hard to work, and all that stuff. I mean, that's what he meant. Here's Bob Myers talking about it.
For everything you do, and understanding, and that's why, like, when people use the Mamba mentality, you guys don't do that. You're not like, don't say that. Like, don't even say that. Like, nobody should be allowed to say that. I'm sorry. Like, I knew that guy.
He was different, man.
There's nobody. There is nobody. There's no. I'm the Mamba mentality. No, you're not. This guy was like one of one.
Listen, we were on the track before the sun came up running, and then in the weight room lifting weights so hard that I felt like I couldn't even shoot. And Coach like, "What's time to go shoot?" I was like, motherfucker, I can't even lift my arms right now. But just like you said, it's an everyday thing for him. It was sick.
Like, when people say that, it bothers, and I'm like, look, I don't pretend like I do that, right? But I'm like, you don't get to say that.
Right.
Like, that's not a throwaway line. Right. Like, this guy was like, that's done with him. I'm sorry, but that went with him.
Yes.
Like, and you can say,
that's true, Bob. That's true.
Come up with something else.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like, leave that one. Like, that's not whatever music.
Yeah, they said it well, man. It ain't a lot I can add to it, man. Kobe Bryant is just one of the best. Got him number 3. I mean, he's a carbon copy of Mike, right? You know, he just don't have the resume that Mike has, but dude was an unbelievable talent, man. He's a very good basketball player, man. Just unreal, technically skilled, sound, and hard working, and killer instinct, guts. You know, all of this stuff, man. Dude was a beast. All right, so BJ Armstrong, again, I already did a video on BJ Armstrong. He said a lot of interesting things, right? But this one is kind of funny. This is, you know, we're not gonna talk about Michael Jordan's offensive prowess or his defensive tenacity or his stats or his 6 rings or his Olympic gold medals or his dominance. And, you know, we're not going to talk about all that stuff, man. This is just a video of how, just one of the stories of how people just think Mike is not human. I don't know if they think he's a vampire or I don't know what they think he is, man, but they just, like, the stories about Mike is just the funniest stuff I ever heard, man. I don't think that dude is human at all, man. So listen to how BJ Armstrong talked about this dude.
Well, my moment is, we played like 3 games in 4 nights or 4 games in 5 nights or something, and we were on a West Coast road trip. And I remember we would practice. I mean, we would play, and this guy was playing 35, 40 minutes. And I was just amazed his ability to play, and then come back and practice and play with the same energy that he did in the game. Now,
and maybe not much sleep.
No. Rex is being kind, with no sleep. Okay. His true gift, Rex, as Rex knows, his true gift, which we don't want to say what Rex can put it in kind. He can explain it. I'm just going to say it and let Rex explain it.
His true gift
if
was,
the man
was hanging out.
If he would have slept, we don't know how good he really would have been. We didn't see the best of Michael Jordan because he didn't sleep for 14 years. Okay. Literally. Okay. I'm not like, this isn't like a little sleep. He literally didn't sleep. So my moment was watching him play 35, 40 minutes, and then come to practice with the same energy.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. Now, this isn't normal. You know what? You know what stinks? We didn't show him practicing. He's the greatest. Okay, he might be the greatest player ever. I don't know who's the greatest, but he's certainly somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. He was the greatest practice player I've ever seen. I've never seen a guy practice this hard And that's what we should be showing the kids, because we're just showing them the games when the lights are on. This guy would, I've never seen someone this competitive and it's always on.
Yeah.
It's always on. And he always brings it. So my moment was in practice and you realize
he's different.
Yeah, something is because you're like, I don't want to tell too much. You were like, I was at the same place he was at, and I'm a little tired today. Everybody else is a little tired. And then all of a sudden, when Phil Jackson would blow the whistle, this guy, like, he got like 10 hours of sleep. And you like, and he didn't eat.
Yeah.
So you got a guy who didn't sleep, he didn't eat, he's playing cards and whatever he's doing at night, you know what I mean? Let's do the PT, hey, Rex, doing whatever happens.
Yep.
And the guy is playing as if like, and you're like, wait a minute, you just played 45 minutes the other night. And you're like, how?
So I think everybody got a friend like that they, just don't think sleep at all. And for most of my friends, I'm that friend that don't sleep, right? They think I don't sleep. I mean, I get sleep. It's just I don't get sleep when everybody else gets sleep, right? It's just I don't know. I can survive off of 1 hour or 2 hours, and they don't have to be back to back. I can get a nap in the middle of the day and then go to bed at 5 a.m. and get another hour and get up at 6, 7, and then I'll be fine, right? But then you had those times where you crash, right? I probably do that for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then I have one of those times where I'm by myself and nobody sees me, and I might finally get 8 hours, right? And then that's good for me. So I don't know. Maybe Mike is one of those dudes, man. I'm pretty sure he's getting sleep. It's not humanly possible for him not to be getting sleep or not eating. But it's crazy that they say that they would party. Like, the difference between Mike and Kobe is Kobe would not do that stuff. Kobe was really deliberate about how he took care of himself and how he stayed focused. He didn't do a lot of partying. He didn't do a lot of going out. And Mike did. Mike enjoyed the nightlife. He smoked cigars. He played golf all day. He gambled. He went to strip clubs. It sounded like, according to B.J. Armstrong, and he did all those things, but he still got up and played 35, 40 minutes and gave you 35, 40 points, right? And locked you up on defense and all that stuff. And he would do that every single game. 82 games as a rookie. Then he broke his foot his second year, only played 18 games. But then the third year, 82 games, 81, 82, 80, 78. Those are low seasons. Those are low games or seasons for him, going 80 and 78. Like, they don't even happen that often, right? So he usually play every single game, right? Then he goes in 95. That he was retired, and he came back in 95 with only 17 games left in the season. He played all 17 of those. Then after that, 3 straight years of 82 games. And then he retired again, right? Now, mind you, it's 2 3-peats in the middle of that. So 82 games, 80, 78, that's the 3-peat. Then he retired, come back, and another 3-peat is 82, 82, and 82. So in the 6 years of his 2 3-peats, he missed 6 games. He averaged one missed game a season in 6 seasons. Unbelievable. Then he retired and came back as the Wizard, and he only played 60 games because he tore his meniscus and had to have surgery, but he came back as a 39-year-old and played all 82 his last year in the season at age 39. The dude is unreal, man. The dude is unreal. If you want to start a myth and have people believe it, start the rumor that Michael Jordan isn't human. Start the rumor that he's some type of alien, which he might be. Who knows? He could be. I mean, because if these stories are true, man, it don't make sense for him to be the most partied person on the team and the one is getting the least amount of sleep, but he's coming and doing his work on the court and not missing games while he's doing it. I think that's amazing, man. But that's just a quick story on Michael Jordan, man. And I go to my last topic, the Bulls and the Warriors, right? It's always been a lot of talk about who the best team is in NBA history. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because I did a video where Draymond Green was talking about LeBron being the GOAT. And he said something that kind of struck me odd when he said that LeBron beat the greatest team ever assembled. And the reason why he said that is because the Golden State Warriors won 73 games, which is the record. The Bulls won 72. Golden State broke the record and won 73. So 73-9. So he's saying that's the greatest team ever assembled based on the regular season record. Right? Now, if you want to be practical about it, the greatest teams ever, like it's been 76 champions in the NBA. So if you take all 76 of those champions, all 76 of those teams will be ahead of the 73-9 Warriors because the best teams win. You know, so you don't get to carry that title of the greatest team ever assembled. You can carry that title of the greatest record, the best regular season record. You could say you can even go as far as say the greatest regular season team ever assembled. I wouldn't even use those words, ever assembled, because if I wanted to put together a team that's the best team, I can assemble something better than that already exists. I think the Bulls team was assembled better. That was a better assembled team than the Steph Curry led Warriors that won 73 games, right? I really do think the Bulls are better, and I think there's a couple of other teams that are better as well. But I just stay with the modern era. I won't go far back, with some of those Lakers and Celtics squads, right? Because they both were stacked. Lakers and Celtics were stacked, right? So, but that's my whole thing. You can't be a better team than the team that won it. Like, it's 76 champions, you not one of them. So you can't be the best team ever assembled, because the ultimate test is the playoffs. That's the greatest test in the grind is the playoffs. You're playing one team 7 times at the most, 4 times at the least. And then you're doing that first round, second round, conference finals. You're doing that for 4 rounds and, at the least 16 games. Right? Or unless you was in the era where you only had to win 3 games in the first round. So 15 to 16 games at least, you got to grind through and stand that test of time. Right? The greatest team can stand that test of time. The Warriors didn't. Right? And if you're even thinking about it, the Warriors lost 9 games in the playoffs. That's how many games they lost in the regular season. They lost 9 games in the playoffs. They I want to say they lost 1 in the first round, 1 in the second round, and then they went down 3-1 to OKC in the conference finals. So that's 3, 4, 5. That's 5. That's 5. They lost 5 games before they got to the finals. They had to come back from a 3-1 deficit. They get to the finals and they blow a 3-1 lead. So that's 4 more. That's 9. Yeah. So they lost 4 in the finals, 3 in the conference finals, 1 in the second round, 1 in the first round. They lost 9 games in the playoffs. So if you take your record from the regular season, yeah, you broke the record. You was the greatest regular season team record wise. But then you got in the playoffs, and if you want to talk about the teams at the greatest playoffs, yeah, when you see this list, you go see this 2016-17 Warriors. That's the Kevin Durant-led Warriors, not the Steph Curry-led Warriors. That's the Kevin Durant-led Warriors. They went 16-1. They lost that 1 game to the Cavs, which was a heavily officiated game where the Cavs shot so many free throws in the first quarter. It was almost like they wanted to give them that game. So they could have pulled off an undefeated in the playoffs that year. But we talking about the 7-3-9 team, which was 2015-16. They lost 9 games. They was 12-9, I think. Something like that. 12-9. So no, they're not quite the best team ever assembled. But if you look at that Lakers team, 2000-2001, they went 15-1 in the playoffs. And the reason why they didn't go 16-1 because that was the year that 3 games get you out of the first round. That was the year they went undefeated all throughout the playoffs. They got to the finals and they lost game 1 to the Sixers and Allen Iverson. It was a shocker. They almost went undefeated as well. And then you scroll down and you see a 90-91 Bulls team that went 15-2, and then you scroll down some more and you see the 95-96 Bulls that won 72 games and only lost 3 games in the playoffs. They lost 2 to the Sonics in the finals. They swept whoever they played in the first round. They lost 1 game in the conference finals. So they swept first round, swept second round, lost 1 game in the conference finals, lost 2 games in the finals of the Supersonics. So if you put that body of work together and you see the Bulls won 72 games in the regular season, lost 10. And then they go through the playoffs and win 15, lose 3, right? So they only lost 13 games the entire season, plus got the championship. Or the Golden State Warriors lost 18 games and didn't get the championship. Then you look at the roster and you see 6'6" point guard Ron Harper, great defender. 6'6" shooting guard Michael Jordan, great defender. 6'7" small forward Scottie Pippen, great defender. 6'7" or 6'8" power forward Dennis Rodman, great defender. And you round it off with Luke Longley with Tony Kukoc coming off the bench. And then you go look at what the Warriors had with Steph, Clay, Dre, Iguodala, Bogut. I'm going with the Bulls. And plus they got the GOAT. I'm going with the Bulls. The Bulls is the greatest team in modern history. Maybe the Lakers, but not the Warriors. Not the Warriors, in my humble opinion, at all. Right? So they got to take a back seat to a couple of teams if you want to be real about it. But I mean, as a matter of fact, listen to this.
Golden State Warriors were in the era of the Chicago Bulls. They would just reconstruct their big guys. They would have a guy like Rick Mahorn on their team, and then they would be able to play that way. But if you put Rick Mahorn in this era, he wouldn't be able to guard Draymond Green because he wouldn't be able to come out and guard him. But in that era, they would just have to change personnel slightly and then still be as good. If you add guys like, and no disrespect, but if you add guys like, if you give Steph Curry and Klay Thompson the same big men that Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars had, they could do the same thing in that era. But they would need James Edward. So you would just change the personnel. It wouldn't change the way they win.
You missed one point. The defense was, constructed a little different.
No, that's why you got to change personnel.
No, but I'm saying back then you was able to hand check.
Right. So you just change personnel a little bit.
They'd be good, but they're not going to win.
But if you took the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah would still be Isaiah without question. But Rick Mahorn couldn't guard Draymond Green in this era. He couldn't guard him in this era.
But we're not comparing it to this era. We're talking about the Chicago
But you can't take that team because they're constructed under the rules that are here. So they're saying, okay, under these rules, can you bring those teams here?
I listen, and people even when you try to make a fair, honest comparison, people think you're hating. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper would be better today. They would be better players today, in my opinion. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, they would be better. But there's no hand checking Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc.
I'm just saying.
Who would win?
So I get what Kenny was trying to say. He was saying if you're playing in this era, a power forward like Rick Mahorn would struggle with a power forward like Draymond Green, which might be true. But he said that the issues with the Golden State Warriors playing in the hand check era, all they had to do was change their big man. So he used the liberty to make an adjustment for the Warriors, but he didn't use that same liberty to make an adjustment for the Detroit Pistons with their lineups, right? So that was already a argument that was a little disingenuous and unfair. Now, I kind of agree with what Barkley was saying when he was saying, if you take that Bulls team that won 72 games and put them in this era, they're exponentially better. Ron Harper, Jordan, Pippen, Kukoc would all be unguardable in this era without the hand check, without the physical play and all that stuff, right? So he's saying, look, it's not gonna be good either way, because if you take Golden State and put them in that era, and you got 6'6" all the way across the board, pretty much, and 1 7-footer, and both of those 6'6" guards can guard Clay. They might have, it might be a little struggle with Steph, but if they can put their hands on them and hand check them, then maybe not. I mean, yeah, we seen guards like Rod Strickland, Marbury, Iverson do their thing on Jordan when he was 35 plus and stuff like that, and his feet wasn't moving as fast as they used to. Yeah, those little quick guards used to give him problems. So I can imagine Steph Curry giving Jordan problems, but so you would just probably have to put Jordan on Clay, which he would have to chase him around screens, which I don't think he liked that either. But as far as Steph with the ball, Ron Harper, I get him that matchup. But running Clay and Steph off screens, that might be their best bet. They got to figure that out. But they can switch all of that though. They can switch everything. Like, so even they got to line up like a modern day, because if they start 6'6" across the board with the 7-footer Luke Longley, that's 90s play. But if they take Luke Longley out and start Kukoc, right, and Rodman to guard the centers, Kukoc can play natural power forward, and he's a stretch power forward at that. They were more built for this era than what you think, right? I mean, when you look at the Clippers, they kind of got the same dynamic with Paul George and Kawhi. That's like the Jordan Pippen, and then 6'6" Ron Harper, kind of like a Westbrook without his athleticism, right? They don't have a Harden, but Tony Kukoc, I mean, it's very similar, but no, I get a nod to the 90s team. I get a nod to the Bulls. As far as winning that head-to-head in a hypothetical, but also as far as on paper being the better team, I give it to the Bulls, because when you look at it, they did the work in the regular season, they did the work in the playoffs, they stood that test of time and that gauntlet, and they went through that grind in the playoffs, and the Warriors fell short. So on that regard, on paper, you have to give it to the Bulls, and then when you start looking at the roster, I'm giving it to the Bulls again. So that's my thoughts on it, man. I hope that kind of helps out with all the debate between who's the better team, the Bulls or the Warriors, and who will win and all that stuff, man. But it's a whole nother conversation if you talk about that team the next year with Kevin Durant. That's a whole different ball game now. So you got to kind of approach it a little bit different. But that's a whole nother conversation. But no, that's the show. That's what I wanted to give y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. If you stayed all the way to the end, hit the subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, hit the thumbs up for sure. Leave a comment, share as well, and go to Underdog Fantasy and use the promo code ManDownSports. Don't forget, become a member for the channel. You can be at the pro level, you can be at the Hall of Fame level. Either way, it's going to help, and we'll put the money to good use. And you're going to continue to get content like this. And yeah, tell everybody about the channel, man. We'll catch you on the next episode. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry, Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code Man Down Sports, and you can get your deposit doubled up to $100. You got to check on the map to make sure your state is eligible to play Underdog Fantasy. But as soon as you do, and if your state is, go ahead and download Underdog Fantasy's app. Use the promo code Man Down Sports, and you can, like I said, you can get that $100 match on your first deposit. And I would want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring Man Down Sports.